Now I've set myself a task to find the best, but the cheapest, most forgiving driver on the internet. I don't know if this is even possible. I don't even know what budget I'm gonna have to spend to get one. But I have spent the last few days looking all over the internet, trying to find, like I say, the best, the cheapest, most forgiving driver of 2024. Now I realise I'm not gonna be able to go down the brand new route. I realise I'm not even gonna be able to get a driver that is from 2024. But there is one driver I have my eyes on. It's a PXG Gen 2 driver, and the 0811XF to be precise. Now, looking at all the reviews, looking at all the forums of club golfers, pros, and everything, everyone is saying for this time, and when this driver came out, that it is the most forgiving driver. Golfers are going away from ping to use it. Now that's a big statement. Like, we all think ping, we all think, okay, most forgiving driver. And if golfers are leaving ping to go for this one, then that's a pretty big statement. Now, reading all the reviews, reading absolutely everything, this is what I found on the website for the PXG Gen 2 driver 0811XF, that the MOI teeters on the brink of USGA limits. And essentially the whole idea about this driver is that it brings hot rod inspired technology by the look and extreme performance of American muscle cars. The PXG 0811XF Gen 2 driver is designed for out and out forgiveness and raw power. Now if you just think, right, all the drivers of this year have been built for outright forgiveness. That's exactly why I've been looking for the driver, and I think I found it. Now after a lot of time scouring the internet, I found one here for £105. Now one thing I don't know is how long it's going to take for it to turn up, but the order has been placed. And that works out for, if I had to do a conversion here, for roughly around $130. I mean, it might turn up next year, but this looks pretty good condition. I mean, I'm going to say it looks new, we'll have to see when it arrives, but this could be one of the most forgiving drivers for an absolute bargain in 2024. So it's just over a week later and the driver has just arrived. Now the box that it came in was, when I say on the small side, it was extremely small. Now the driver unfortunately came in no head cover, even though on the review it said it did. But I think the reason why it came in no head cover on is so they could cram it into this box. But with everything being said, I think I've looked out here. Like, there's a few marks on the face, like it's definitely been tried once or twice, but looking at the underneath, there is literally nothing wrong with this. It's like brand new. So I'm sure I can find an old head cover somewhere in the garage just to take it to the golf course. But honestly, the condition of this is a joke. Have a look. Look, there's a few marks on the underneath and a little bit of marks on the face, but it's practically brand new. So with all that being said, let's take this down to the golf course in the morning and put this to the test. Like for £105, just over $130, I think, I mean, apart from the head cover, I mean, I'm pretty annoyed, but I mean, the quality is really, really good. I'm interested about the sound, I'm interested about how it performs, what numbers we get, and if it's actually a bargain. Because yes, it is cheaper, but if it's absolute garbage, it's no good to anybody. Let's head to the golf course in the morning and see what it's like. So we've just arrived down at Mottram Hall and I've come to the 18th hole, and I think you can see how windy it is today. Now something that's really interesting about this driver is that PXG say this Gen 2 driver and the 011XF teeters on the brink of basically being illegal, because it has such high MOI. Now for every single driver, it has to pass tests set by the USGA. And they say that this MOI is so high, the moment of inertia, basically how forgiving it is, it's on the brink of being illegal. So how does this perform? Before we look at any of the numbers and see how this flies down this fairway, she's got to do well today because it's seriously windy. First impressions. This is definitely an XL head. The one thing I would say looking down on this, that it's seriously rounded. Like if you look down at this driver head here, you can see how rounded it is. But something that I really do like is this matte finish. You get zero glare and the slight carbon effect on the back to the sort of darker front area here, where you have the top edge of the driver, it looks seriously premium. And what tops it off is just that X. I like that touch. So first impressions in terms of look, and you know what, I don't think this has ever been hit. What a bargain this was. This has never been hit. So first impressions in terms of look, in terms of feel, especially with this shaft in it, a 60 CK Series Tensai S-Flex, feels like a really good combo in terms of just what it feels like in my hands. Now this big footprint that you can see down at the ball, on the underneath, is met with precision weighting technology. So essentially these 5 weights you have in here in the sole support trajectory tuning and create an opportunity for the overall assembled mass to be adjusted. So I'm guessing you can move these. You have the sort of darker weights at the edge. I'm guessing you could put maybe darker ones in the middle and move the lighter ones. I'm guessing they're different weights. Now I'm seriously interested to see what this sounds like, so let's hit one away. Because anytime I hit big drivers, and I guess this has carbon on it, I'm reckoning quite a dull sound here. Geez, that big, it's definitely a big footprint down behind the ball. But what I do like about it, it's rounded. When I've seen big footprints in the 2024 models, like, I mean, this is not 2024, but they're sort of more triangulated, more extended at the back. I don't get that look. Right, here we go. First drive away. I'm dying to know what this sounds like, feels like. I want the numbers are. Oh, that was weird. I got it bang on, you know. Dull sounding. It's like I didn't even make contact with it. Now that wind is strong. That wind is seriously strong. So hopefully you can see it there. I got that literally right out the middle. And that sound was so weird. It was so dull. So spin was 2,696. Ball speed was 158.6. Clubhead speed a little bit low, but 282 yard total. I knew that was gonna sound weird. I knew that was gonna sound dull. And I don't know if I like that. It was weird. It's almost like I couldn't get any feedback from where I hit it, apart from actually the mark on the face. Now, right. I know this driver is a fraction of the price of what we see here in 2024, and especially for a PXG driver. Real bargain hunt, right? Real bargain hunt. But for this driver to be even considered as something you could put in the bag, and this will vary from person to person. What's the sound like? Do you like the sound? I think that's a really big thing. I don't know about you. But in terms of what numbers that I want this to have is anything over 160 miles an hour ball speed. Got to be there. Over 112 miles an hour club head speed. Over 285 yards carry, possibly touching 295, and the spin to be around 2,500. Well, that first shot was bang on. In terms of where that finished, it finished just sort of in line with this tree right here. So I think maybe semi-rough. I think on the next shot, that wind is so far off my left hand side, I'm going to have to adjust.
So let's hit some more away with the better adjustment for aim. I aimed sort of just towards this left hand side of the fairway, hoping it would push its way back in. And it did. You know what? That was a really nice hit, followed by another very good hit. The one thing that I'm still not getting used to is the feel of this face.
Now, it's also important to note that you can loft this driver up as it has an adjustable hosel by 1.5 degrees. So you can make this 10.5 or take it all the way down to 7.5. I mean, yeah, I don't think I would ever do that. And also just a little bit more technology. The idea behind this driver, it has a low, down and deep center of gravity. So let's just say this nice and simply, the lower and the deeper you put it, the higher launch that you get. Now on those first 3 shots right there, that's seriously not something that I'm seeing.
And what's also really apparent in this driver's look is how deep this face is.
Now we have 3 more drives to go before I give you my opinion. But so far, let me just give you what I'm thinking, and this is just my brutal, honest opinion. The shape, I really like the look of. The white pops and the little sort of the cross in the middle where it signifies the center of the face. The carbon effect and the shape, I really, really like it. Now one thing I'm not enjoying is the sound. That sound and the feel of the face feels dull, it feels slow, it feels like there's nothing there. It doesn't feel like there's any pop. I find it quite weird. Now I know the shaft is going to have a lot to do with this, but what I'm seeing in terms of ball flight is not a high ball flight. And I know this is what this driver is meant to do. I'm seeing sort of a medium, and if I'm honest, that last drive was really quite low. Now, I want to see not just what I think of this, but let's have a look at some forums here. Here's one of them here from Grover C. I purchased this driver in 10.5 degrees about 2 months ago. This is in 2020. And one of the deals PXG had. I am left-handed, and I was able to get it for around $275 with a Kuro gauge black dual core TNT shaft. I'm a 14 handicap, mid-90s swing speed, and the last two drivers have been Ping G400 Max and Strixon Z785 for me. Personally, it is better than the Max in every single way, and the Strixon may be longer for me on perfect strikes, but I don't have as many of them as I would like, and the PXG is much more forgiving. One of the reasons why I thought this driver was an absolute cracker for us to try. Let's have a look at another one here. This is posted again in August 2020. I have the 0811XF in Gen 2, 12 degrees, absolutely the best driver I've ever had, mid-90s swing speed. Again, this is what we're seeing. Another one here, August 2020. Great, after settling in Ping G400 Max over the past year, now I have to try one of these. Thanks a lot. So you can see people have been very influenced in forums and gone from having Ping G400 Max drivers, which at the time were some of the most forgiving, and went into this. Now, first few shots that I've hit away have been pretty good, but let's get back to trying this out. How positive are all those forums, by the way? Like, is this anything that you do when you go and buy a driver? Not only do you watch YouTube videos, but do you go and look at forums? I certainly do, and want to know what you do too. Right, we've got 3 more to hit, then we're going through some averages. It's seriously surprising me. I'll be honest, I can't quite get on board with those forums and what people are saying. I'm not seeing the forgiveness that this driver promises right now. Yes, I've hit 3 very, very good drives, but it feels a little bit lifeless. Don't mean that in a bad way. And I'm sure, like, this might just be me, but at the minute it feels a little lifeless. So let's hit this one away. You know what I am actually enjoying? I've just thought about that there when I placed that down, is the length of the shaft. It feels nice. Also, the way this driver sits with very, very minimal offset is very, very inviting for, I would say, a lower handicap golfer, just because simply it looks kind of nice and square down behind the ball. Again, look how low that is. I mean, it's good. It's flying, and maybe that's a good thing. I'm getting a low to medium ball flight with a very forgiving driver. Some decent numbers there. It's just that sound. Can you? I wonder if you can get that feeling. Tell me if you can. I'm going to tee this one a little higher this time, actually. I'm going to experiment with this. I wonder if that'll make a difference to me getting that launch a little bit higher. I mean, I'd never tee it that high. I mean, have a look at this. That is seriously so high for me. Like, I mean, I would say usually I have a little bit of the ball above the face, but I would say there's over half there. That feels so high. This is going to be interesting. Oh, I think I found it. I think I found it. That felt absolutely mustard. Best numbers yet. Hands down, best numbers.
161.4 miles an hour ball speed, a clubhead speed of 110.1, a great smash by the way too, 1.47, 2,690 spin, and a total distance of 293. That was teed so high.
And I'll be honest, I wish I had tried that sooner. We do have another ball to go. That ball flight was insane. Like, could you just see how much higher that was? It wasn't too high, but I would definitely categorize, as I said it before, as a low, well, medium to low like launch. Whereas that one, spot on for me. Absolutely spot on. I enjoyed that hit so much. Let's get it pegged up again, let's get it high, and let's see what numbers we get here. We've got one more, and let's go through this. I think so far, taking the noise out of account, and maybe not getting quite the right tee height for me, and it does take a little bit of figuring out, I'm quite impressed with this driver. How good is that? That was hit so out the middle. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. I figured this out now. So the big question is, do I like this driver? Well, I really think I do like this driver, apart from one thing. Now, I've said this before, I love the look and the shape of this driver behind the ball, the matte finish, the carbon effect, the roundness of the shape, how deep this face is, everything that I would personally look for in a driver. And I looked out and got a very good shaft for this, but that's why I scour the internet to find it. Now, I mentioned there's one thing I didn't like. Before we go into that, let's have a look at these numbers. Now, halfway through, I was saying that I felt this driver was a little bit lifeless, a little bit soulless. But as soon as I teed this golf ball up more, I managed to bump my average total to 290 yards on the nose. I mean, we had a 282 in there, we had 289s, and we had 293 and another 290. So right in that ballpark figure, where I'd want it to be. And all things considered, on a cold day like it is today, I think that's pretty good. My spin numbers were just short of 2,500, 2,492 on average, which is a little bit bizarre, isn't it? Like lower, CG, deeper, I always think about it producing a higher spin, high launch, spinny ball flight that I just wouldn't use. That's not something I saw. This is a ball flight that I really did enjoy when I teed it higher. And if I was to gain this, I definitely would tee it higher like that. And it just takes a bit of time to get used to what you like. Ball speed, 159.9 as our average, and club head speed, 109.9. Now, I said at the start of the video I would like it faster, and maybe it's not quite the shaft that I would need, but I'll be honest, apart from the sound, which I really don't like, and I think that's maybe why, that this driver feels a little bit soulless and a little bit lifeless, because it is a dual sound and very different to, let's say, a Ping, the TaylorMade that I'm using, the Mizuno driver, or even the Cleveland that I've tried this year. And that's maybe why it sort of gives me that feeling, and it's just a bit meh, but the numbers don't support that. I honestly think with a little bit of tinkering, maybe changing the shaft, getting it right, this could be a cracking driver for 2024. Yeah, it's not a brand new, but if you scour the internet, you certainly could find a bargain. But that's part of it, isn't it? When you're on the internet, it's sometimes hard to find the right makeup for you. But this, I think, is pretty damn close. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel here at How Good Golf.